Call the Steele County Board of Commissioners meeting to order and ask you to please rise and say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. So, is there anything that needs to be added to the agenda, Scott?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. Any conversation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now it's time for public comment. Those wishing to speak must state their name and address for the record. After they are acknowledged by the board chair, each person will be limited to 2 minutes to make his or her remarks. Speakers will address all comments to the board as a whole and not one individual commissioner. The board may not take action on an item presented during the public comment period unless the item is already on the agenda for action. When appropriate, the board may refer inquiries and items brought up during the public comment period to the county administrator for follow-up. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment this evening? Anyone wishing to make public comment? Okay, then we will move on. Correspondence. Scott, anything?
Nothing, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And the board's wishes on the consent agenda as printed in your packet.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let's see. I think we can move on and do some other business while we're waiting for 5:15 to get here. We can't do that. We can do item number 23, which is the commissioner salary and per diem. What are the board's wishes on that?
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the commissioner's salary at $26,413 per year for 2024 and $80 per day for per diem.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of that resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 24 is Julie won't be on yet, right?
Julie's on.
She is, okay. Number 24, you're up, Julie.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, very good. So my first item, I believe on the agenda, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the new union contract for the non-licensed correctional sergeants at the detention center.
That is true.
Okay, excellent. So we finally have come to our last union contract and have a tentative agreement for you this evening for your review and approval. So I'll go through the highlights which are on your request for board action cover sheet in your packet. Some of the items in the tentative agreement were just contract language cleanup. And then the highlights are as follows. So it's a 3-year duration for this contract, consistent with all of the other union contracts. Under the wages provision, it's a 4% COLA in 2023, and it's retroactive back to January 1st of this year. Then year 2 is a 3% COLA along with a 2% market adjustment that the board had previously adopted for 2024. And then in 2025, it's a 3% COLA. Also, the elimination of the bottom 3 steps of the wage schedule. And then an increase in the shift differential from 40 cents per hour to $1 per hour, effective January 1st of 2024. The next change is to change the funeral leave article to bereavement leave. and to add domestic partner to the list of immediate family members who are eligible for use of that bereavement leave. That's also consistent with what we've done with other bargaining units. And then to also allow them to use 1 day of short notice vacation if there is a death of a significant person in their life, to be able to attend the funeral or the visitation for that individual. The health insurance provision is the same as everybody else in the county, so what we have done previously, this is the same for this bargaining unit for the 3 years of the contract. The next updated item is to update the promotional language to match the other bargaining units in the county. And then lastly, a separate direct deposit for holiday pay for the 4 correctional sergeants beginning in 2024. So that's a summary of the changes and the tentative agreement for the correctional sergeants.
Okay, thank you, Julie. With that, I'll look for a motion on the resolution approving the 2023 to 2025 MNP Correctional Non-Licensed Sergeant Unit Contract.
Mr. Chair, I'll offer the resolution.
Okay, is there a second? Second, okay. Any discussion? I just want to say thanks, Julie, for working hard. I know it was a long haul this year, but you made the finish line, so thank you.
We did, thank you.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, Internal Central Services Committee met on Wednesday, December 20th. And number 25 is an update on the employee benefits policy. You're still up.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So we've been talking for a number of months now about the new piece of legislation that was passed in this last session by the legislature, and it's the Earned Sick and Safe Time. I'm going to refer to it as ESST for short. Essentially, when the legislature passed this piece of legislation, it really was not intended for employers like us, who already offer very generous paid time off to employees. However, we do have to comply with this new piece of legislation. So you'll see in the board packet, the requirement under the new law is that for every 30 hours worked, an employee is eligible to earn 1 hour of ESST up to a maximum of 48 hours in 2024. And then they'll be able to earn up to a maximum of 80 hours of ESST starting in 2025 and thereafter. All of our employees who are eligible for paid accruals currently through PTO, sick, or vacation already exceed that minimum requirement. So for those folks, what we are proposing to do with this policy addition that's before you this evening is whatever paid leave they use from the beginning of 2024, that will be coded as ESST. So whatever paid leave an employee uses, once they hit that 48 hours, we will have met the requirement under this law. So whether someone uses PTO, if they're a PTO employee, or sick or vacation, that is how we will be coding that leave. So it will not be a separate pot of paid leave time for all of our current employees who already accrue leave. Now that said, we do have a number of employees like our sheriff posse, arena workers, veterans, drivers who are not eligible for any paid leave accrual. So for those individuals, as long as they meet the minimum requirement of 80 hours in the calendar year, those individuals will be provided the separate 48-hour maximum entitlement of ESST based on the number of hours they work to meet this requirement. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that if any board members have questions for me.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
I would just like to make a comment, and this, you ran this past our employment attorney, right? To make sure everything is,
That's
Okay.
correct, and this is how both she and the Department of Labor are recommending it be adopted for employers like us who already offer generous paid accrual leave.
okay. With that, then I will look for, do we have to have a motion on this, Scott?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yes, we're updating our personnel
Okay.
policy.
I'll look for a motion to update the employee benefits policy to include ESST stipulations.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we can get the next one done too. Number 26 is commit the 2023 Community Corrections surplus towards the new Community Corrections building. It's on page 130 in the back. Hi there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Am I supposed to stand here now? No.
Wherever you come
Whatever you
All right.
prefer.
Well, then I can't see Mr. Brady. So this is a recommendation to commit $200,
200,000.
200,000, sorry, towards the construction of CCA building. We've been talking about it throughout the budgeting season, but as you know, CCA has received additional funding from the state starting in July. And so this year, CCA budget is going to have a surplus. And so included in your packet was the projection of how much surplus they'll have in their budget this year. So I would like to set aside $200,000 for the additional cost of the building for next year.
Anybody have any comments or look for a motion then to commit $200,000 out of the CCA budget from 2023 toward the new building?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Second. And I just want to make a comment, that's just 2023.
Correct.
Okay, that doesn't count 2024.
Correct.
Okay, okay. All those in favor of committing the 2023 CCA surplus towards the new CCA building, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Now we will we'll look for a motion to open the public hearing on the fee schedule.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Way back in front. Everything is listed with all the changes. Does anybody have any comments on the fee schedule as it's presented?
I do, but I can't find it. The building up at the fairgrounds,
Page 114,
Community Center,
114.
middle page.
the third blue section. It's under Four Seasons.
All right, so can we comment now?
Mm-hmm.
So I've received a fair amount of feedback on our prior discussion on setting that rate for the community center room rental at $400 per day. The feedback from the public was that increase is too much at one time. I tend to agree with that. We probably should have been more proactive and had increases as we went along to make it a little more palatable. So with that, I think I would be in favor of setting that rate somewhere in the $200 to $250 range. and then revisit again next year like we visit all these fees.
Anybody else have any comments?
I also had a lot of feedback, and I think 250 is a fair number.
I have two, and my thought process was $200, and but people have said 200 or 250 is a pretty fair amount, either one of them. And then have a reduction, like for the second day or third day, fourth day, if they're going to rent it more than of $25. So instead of 200, then the second day would be 175, or instead of 250, the second day would be 225. But to make sure that they have the adequate insurance to cover any liabilities, which is a part of that proposal originally.
I think our big concern was that, that has that full commercial kitchen or full kitchen in there, and the liability that goes with that is pretty scary for the county. When you open that up to anyone going in there, so certainly we're covered, I hope, after talking with legal counsel, we're covered with them bringing their own insurance, and you're still open to, I mean, you'd probably get named in the suit if there ever was something that happened. So I guess I would support 250 with the $25 a day reduction if we
Just $25, just one
time.
Yeah. So that would mean the second, third, or fourth day would be $225. Otherwise, does anybody have any questions on the rest of the fee schedule? I haven't heard a word from anybody else on anything else.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Paul, how long does it take to assemble a swing-away mailbox post?
What do you have?
150. Any idea?
I'd bet, depending where you are in the county, the time to drive out there, and then, I guess, I don't know, I'm just guessing probably about half an hour.
The fee is $122 to assemble and $270 to install. So I think the driving out there would be installation on what the assembly is, just putting it together.
Isn't the fee post-assembly materials only? Here it is. You put it together, you install it, and the others, if we have to send somebody out there to dig it in, put it together, put it up.
That'd be explained, thank you.
Mr. Chair, yeah, they're having $148 if you want the county, in addition to the $122 for the materials to install it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Let me see. Oh, we just, yeah. Are there any public comments out there about fee schedules at all? Hearing none. I'll look for a motion to come out of our public hearing on the fee schedules.
So moved.
And move, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, with that, we will move to number 22 on the general. Adopt a resolution approving the 2024 Steele County fee schedule. And I would guess there's going to be an alteration to that.
I would make a motion that we set the fee schedule, the 2024 fee schedule as amended to read $250 for the community center room rental, and then a $25 a day adjustment after that.
For the second and
Second and beyond.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I think that's I would just add, I think that's the right thing to do, and then we can track rentals and where we're at and see what the effect is. And so, with that, all those in favor of adopting that resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Public Safety and Health Committee met on Wednesday, December 13th. And number 27 in your packet is on page 132. Sorry for jumping around like that. And that has to do with approve the annual employee blood drive with the annual date to be set by the Director of Public Health. Board's wishes.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve employees up to 1 hour paid time to donate blood, contingent upon department schedules and maintaining an uninterrupted service.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the annual employee blood drive signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public Works Committee met Thursday, December 14th, 2023. And number 28 on the agenda is a letter of support for the City of Owatonna application to Transportation Alternatives funding for the East Side Corridor multi-use trail. Also,
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The east side corridor that we are proposing to build a multi-use trail along one side of it, most of the corridor here. The city of Owatonna is applying for a Transportation Alternatives Program funding application. It's a federal program that funds projects for pedestrian and bicycle facilities such as this trail. The state is soliciting projects with about $12.5 million are available. This trail will be about 4.5 miles long, depending where it ends up going. Estimated to cost about $990,000. An eligible portion of that is about $846,000. And so, city's requesting, putting together an application for this, and they're requesting $676,000 there. And the rest of that, 20% matching funds through the county, be shared between the city and the county, so. Any questions?
Paul, does this, Mr. Chair, Paul, does this in any way lock us into any one particular route, or would this apply no matter where this road lands?
Can apply wherever we end up choosing, so.
okay, the board's wishes on the letter of support.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, we write a letter of support.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay. Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second for a letter of support for the City of Owatonna application to Transportation Alternative Funding for East Side Corridor multi-use trail.
Mr. Chair, just for clarity, so we're approving the letter and authorizing the chair to sign this letter? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. With that, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Paul. Okay, information items. Public Safety and Health Committee minutes are in your packet. Public Works Committee minutes are in your packet. And Internal Central Service Committee minutes are in your packet. Any presentations tonight, Scott?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. With that, we'll move to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Brady.
On the 13th, I had a public safety meeting. The 14th was a public works meeting. The 18th was a human resource center meeting. The 20th, we had interviews in the afternoon for the treasurer's position. And 5 o'clock that night was Soil and Water Conservation District. And that brings us to today.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I also attended the interviews for the finance director.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Scott?
Just two things. I sent this via email to you. This is that schedule that's proposed for the administrator search. For your information, we'll talk about this at the meeting next week too. You can decide how you want to handle the selection of the finalists and eventually the interviews. as a board, so that's coming next week. You don't have to do that today, it's just an informational. And then also, I'm doing my part as the administrator to let you know, you all get that notice from the Campaign Finance and Public Disclosure Board that you have to complete in January, and I'm required to just remind you, so here's your reminder of that task.
Thank you.
Good reminder.
Okay,
That's all I have.
Commissioner Abbott.
All right, I attended the Mid-Prairie Policy Committee meeting, Mid-Prairie meeting, Internal Central Services Committee, sat in on the Finance Director interviews, and was lucky enough to attend a potluck lunch at the Highway Department.
Okay, and I represented the county at the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new CDI facility, and if you ever get a chance to get out there and see it, it is absolutely amazing. Everything that they could put in there for employee benefits was put in it. It's an amazing facility. On the 19th, I also had Mid-Prairie Joint Powers Board meeting at Manderville. On the 20th, I had a Smart Bus meeting and ICS meeting. And I also attended the Public Works Luncheon and was part of the Finance Director interviews. On the 21st, I attended the Owatonna Chamber's Legislative Breakfast to hear what 2024 looks like and beyond. And on the 22nd, I had South Country Health Alliance Finance Committee meeting, and they are having a fantastic year. With that, our next meeting is, so everybody's aware of it, is out of the norm, but that's a statuted meeting. It is County Board meeting Tuesday, January 2nd at 5 p.m. in the board room.
Mr. Chair, just a heads up too, because at that meeting, you'll be adopting your new committee assignments. So we do have 2 meetings scheduled next week that will affect you. Wednesday, January 3rd will be the first ICS committee meeting, and that will involve Commissioners Abbey and Brady. You'll be on that committee next year. So that'll be at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, January 3rd. And then Thursday is the Property and Maintenance Committee at 8 a.m. And that will be Commissioners Nemi and Abbey that will be on that committee.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. With that, I will look for a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.